Oh, are we live?
Yeah, mate, we're live.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
Good evening. It's Friday. It's Friday night, Pint live. The original crew are back. Like, no disrespect to Dan, but we were the first three to start this channel. So it's been a while, boys. It's been a while,
It has. Poor Dan.
mate. I tell you what, he does more work than anyone on this channel. But so it's no disrespect to him, but we did start the channel together. Happy Friday, Friday night, Pint live. How's your week been? All right.
Yeah, mine's been good, mate. I passed my course, got a distinction, so I'm buzzing at the minute, apart from being unwell. So it's good week so far.
I hope you pass that course better than you used to pass football. Hey!
But yeah, no, it's all good. All good.
Good?
Yeah, all good, mate. Just been working. And yeah, that's it really. Not really done much. Bit of a boring week, but we move on. We crack on. I done the preview with Scott last night. That was a highlight of my week. After watching that absolute shambles at Anfield.
Do you know what? I want to talk about that a little bit because I don't think like a lot of people have been tweeting me, right? I don't think that was as shambolic as it looked under the scoreline, but we'll talk about that a bit later. I sliced part of my thumb off. Chopping vegetables. I had it all bandaged up, but took a big chunk of it out. It fucking pissed the blood, man. It was bad. But I'm just giving it a bit of air now. To be fair, it looked worse yesterday than it is, but it was really deep. You could see near the bone.
Not good, mate. Not good.
Yeah, but it is what it is. But yeah, I've had a good week. Thank you very much. I hope everyone has had a good week. In the comment section, please get involved. We'll be talking about a couple of topics tonight. If you've got any topics to chuck to us, chuck them over. We'll have a chat about them. But let's get on to the main topic. I mean, Tim Steidten. I see a report a couple of days ago. Tim Steidten is the one that's apparently being blamed for this bad start. Obviously, Lopetegui's he's under a bit of pressure, and apparently it all falls down on Tim Steidten's head because he's the one with the head of recruitment. He's the one that's sort of meant to be the director of football, and the football hasn't been great. He's the one in the back of planes having photos done. So apparently he's the one being blamed. I mean, let me start this by saying, if he's the one being blamed for this bad start, then what the fuck was David Sullivan doing for the past 10 years? And why wasn't he blaming himself? But there we go. But yeah, what do you make of this start? I mean, is it just a storm in a teacup?
I mean, I haven't really seen the reports, but if that's what people are saying, then I mean, Tim Steidten don't coach the team. Tim Steidten don't pick the starting 11. Tim Steidten ain't on the touchline. Well, he is before the game, but not during the game. Everyone gets excited when he signs the players, so how can it be his fault? Surely he's given the tools to Lopetegui to pick a good team, get us playing good football. As I said, he's not the coach. Lopetegui's the manager. He's the coach. He's the one that takes the training. He's the one that's with the players every day. I don't see how this is Tim Steidten's fault. I thought everyone was loving Tim Steidten during the summer.
Well, it seems to be turning very toxic very quickly, and I think everyone's just trying to point fingers at whoever it is. But go on, Scott. I see you teeing up.
No, I was just going to say, this is the thing: is the modern day way football clubs are run is that you have a plan, you set out a philosophy of how you want to play, and at the end of the day, you can't if Steidten's bringing the players in and not bringing a manager in that fits the philosophy of the players he's trying to bring in, then you can't really blame Steidten too much. No, like Ryan said, he's not the one training them. He's not the one coaching them.
Apparently, he's the one that brought Lopetegui in. It was his choice.
Well, the thing is, you're hearing one bit it was his choice, another he wanted somebody else, isn't it? But that's the thing. If that is his choice, if he's saying, right, this is the person to take us forward, these are the players to do it, you're then saying, right, well, have you got the first pick wrong? in the manager, or have you got the second pick wrong in the players that you're bringing in? Because obviously you're bringing in a manager to play a certain style, and then you're earmarking these players from around the world saying that they're going to fit this philosophy, and they don't fit that philosophy. You know, this is the problem you got. It's a very, very tricky thing, and it's a tricky of new way of football. You know, where the manager isn't the manager, he's a coach.
I just think that with people blaming Steidten, they don't want to blame Lopetegui. You know, there's always going to be, as Scott said, people finger pointing. You know, trying to blame someone. If they're not blaming the players, they're blaming Lopetegui. If not blaming Lopetegui, it's Steidten. If it's not Steidten, it's Sullivan. If it's not Sullivan, it's the tea lady. You know, there's always someone that's going to be blamed. I don't see how Tim Steidten can get the blame for this. You know, if we'd have started the season well, everyone would have been praising him. You know, it's only because we've had a few bad results. It hasn't been a great start to the season. You know, as I said, if we'd have picked up a couple more wins, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
I mean, the bickering amongst the fan base is starting already, and this is starting to worry me a little bit, because when things do start going bad at West Ham, listen, I'm not excluding myself in this conversation. We start pointing fingers. We you know, everyone's looking for some, you know, and at the moment where we've had this, you know, Moyes debate, you know, some wanted to keep him, some wanted him to go. But I would say this, right? And I got this yesterday, right, from Twitter. Somebody was tweeting me. I'm quite insulting stuff, you know what I mean? But I'm you know, I'm a big boy, I can take it. And it you know, we've had these sort of debates on the Moyes in, you know, debate, and we lost by the same scoreline on Tuesday. No doubt about it. You know, it was the same scoreline. Very different circumstances, in my opinion. You know, I watched both games, and I watched them very closely. And they was two different games, on my opinion. We was in that game on Tuesday, no doubt about it. There needs to be better from the players. That is.
I totally agree, man. I said the same thing to Scott on the preview. I know it was the same result, but the performance was better. And if we had VAR the other night, it'd have been a different game. You know, I thought first half we played well. It was the sending off that killed us in that game. That's what ruined the game for us. And then they got the late goals. And it looks, if you didn't watch that game and you see the result, you think, oh, they've been battered. So I do agree with you there, 100%.
Yeah, the score, like you said, right, the game was over at 3-0 and then the sending off. That was it. Anything realistically after that, you can't really count because you're playing against 10 men. 3-1, sorry, not 3-0. But
I thought it was 2-1. I thought it was 2-1 when he got sent off.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the game was over, like, because he got sent off, didn't he, at 2-1, and then they scored the third, and it just killed anything that we had.
The thing is, you know yourselves. The problem is that I know it's a lot different because you're playing at Anfield against Liverpool, and look, they've had a really good start to the season. I think they've lost one game, and that was that 1-0 game to Forest, which was a bit of a freak result. You know, but you're sitting there, you're 2-1 down, you're trying to get back into the game, you lose your centre midfielder. You know, there's no way back. And look, we've seen before, when you get 10 men, you make it hard to play against. It sometimes galvanises the players. I just feel that probably the form that we're in at the moment and the way we are, it doesn't seem no galvanising of the players. Do you know what I mean? That's what I don't see. The fight, that fight's gone. The fight went. We had no fight last season, and I just feel we haven't got that fight again this season.
Why have we got no fight then, Scott? What's the problem? Who's gone? That has took the fight away? Because as far as I can see, a couple of, you know, Zuma's gone, Aguirre's gone, Ward-Prowse has gone. Who amongst that lot would you say was the fighter? Who was the difference?
But that's
Rice,
the thing.
maybe? If you said there was none last season, is it Rice?
I didn't. Did you? Can you say that we actually put up a fight in games last season? Very, very rarely when we did. And this is the thing. I think you've not got enough players in there that understand the football club. You know, we played the London Derby against Chelsea. You know, right, we was still in the game leading up to. I know we was up 2-0 down at half time, but we were still in the game. But you see, I know I get football's changed. You can't be flying into tackles and things like that. But did you see any fight out there in that game?
What,
where players, where you know,
what, Chelsea or Liverpool?
Both.
I'm sorry, but people are looking at the result. Yeah, this is where listen, right, and I'm going to drop some fucking facts here, right, for people that are sitting here, right, thinking in the game against Fulham, in the game against Liverpool, in the game against Crystal Palace, and all right, the reverse fixture against Chelsea last season, we conceded 20 fucking goals. 20 goals against them four sides. We played the same four sides at the beginning of last season, and this Chelsea are very different from the Chelsea you played at the beginning of last season, right? There's definite listen, and I'm saying this like, let me say this categorically. Tim Steidten has done a marvelous job. Yeah, if West Ham, yeah, after the players that he's recruited, right, whether they're working or not right now, yeah, if West Ham are looking to sack Tim Steidten, then West Ham are fucking mental, because who is the alternative? What, going back to David Sullivan, going back to David Moyes, who was picking up Jordan Hugill a few years ago. Let's be fair, right? Let's be fucking fair, right? Look at the quality of play. Listen, it's not happening. It doesn't happen straight away. Look at Chelsea the other day, yeah? Look at the money they've spent. It can't happen straight away. And I said this at the beginning of the season, and I knew this was going to happen. We've had a tough start. We've had a fucking tough start, right? And we can't expect it all to fall into play. Sometimes it does, sometimes it don't, right? There's games when we look well with Max Kilman. Max Kilman, I didn't think played very well against Liverpool, but he's not going to be able to do that in every game. Tadebo's just coming in, yeah? He just came in against Liverpool, right? Mavropanos was fucking pathetic the week before. He has to try and change. As I said, he needs to start to see the type of squad and get everyone into the right frame of mind, right? The other night against Liverpool, yeah, Bowen put a cross in for fucking Jimmy Somerville, right? And he mistrusted it. Last season, or with a bit more confidence, he would have took that one touch and banged it in the back of the net, right? Then we had the Kilman chance where he was dancing with it in front of the goal. Yeah, we ain't shooting enough. That's as simple as that, right? When we get in and around the box, we're very nervous. We're not shooting enough, right? But there is nobody that can tell me now we are not in a better place. Yeah, we're not in a better place in terms of a squad. I don't know what the table's saying, right? Than we was last season, because the squad was fucking decimated last season, right? And anyone that thinks that David Moyes would have come into this season with the same squad and would have been doing any better than this is fucking mental, right? He let the squad die. It was dying, right?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying now. I do agree with what you're saying, but it's all like, yeah, you can say Moyes couldn't have done this and Moyes couldn't have done that. You know, I agree. We've got a much better squad this season. I was gutted that Ward-Prowse left. I think that if he would have been a good addition to keep, especially loaning them out. I thought it was stupid. But yeah, no, I totally agree with what you're saying, mate.
The thing is, when you look at results, we're in a worse off position results wise to what we was the start of last season. But you look back at the start of last season,
start of every season is different, Scott.
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. But
you know what I mean? Let's give him. All right, I'll tell you what. Right, 6 games. The next 6 games, I think, are crucial.
I think the next 2 games are crucial, mate.
The next 2 games are crucial. I'm saying when you look at what we've got over the next 6, they're crucial. If we're in the same position by then, I think then is the time to start to say, right, maybe it's the manager. But I think it's very harsh. Maybe a bit led by the press, I think, to be pointing fingers at Lopetegui, to be pointing fingers at Tim Steidten this early in the season. I think it's absolutely mental to be talking like that, right? And people making comparisons between David Moyes and Lopetegui. Lopetegui's been in the job a month. David Moyes was in the job for 4 years. Yeah. There's differences, you know. If Arsenal pulled the trigger on Arteta when all them fucking wankers up the road were telling him to sack him at the beginning of his reign, would they be in the same place they were now? Because they've sacked Emery, and Emery could have got them to where they are now. No doubt about it. I think Emery is a better manager than Arteta. That's what I'm saying. Everyone is so quick to want to pull the trigger. Everybody.
This is the thing, though. Like when you sit there and look at it, you know, like you said, he's coming in. Look at Chelsea at the start of last season. all over the place. And as the season progressed, they got better and better and better. And it surprised me when they let Poch go. But sometimes you've just got to stick with a plan and let the plan unfold. Like, you touched on it with the squad selections, like with Todibo and all that. We criticised Moyes a lot for not throwing players in who we signed straight away. We were talking on a preview last night, and I said to Ryan, I think now's the time where you can't. We're not playing well. We're not picking up results by sticking with some. I said I want to go back to trusted players, bring trusted players in certain key positions. But I also think now you've got to start building partnerships. You can't keep leaving Todibo out. If Todibo and Kilman are going to what you want come the end of the season as your centre back pairing, now's the time to put them in. Because we're not keeping clean sheets with Mavropanos. So let's just do it. Let's get it sorted. Get him up and running. Get him the game time. Even if he plays 60 minutes and you bring Mavropanos on, start getting these players in. But I think you've got to be tried and trusted going forward now.
The problem, and I've said it, like, I don't think we've played well this season in many games. I think we've been lucky. As I said, the Chelsea result was waiting to happen. That could have happened, that could have happened at Crystal Palace away. I know we ended up winning that game 2-0, but go back and watch it. We could have been 2 or 3 down. I haven't been overly impressed. But as I said, and I've said it for weeks, I'm not going to jump on Lopetegui's back because he is new to the job. He's got to find his feet. He's got to find his right starting lineup. The midfield is a huge problem for us.
Yeah.
You see it last week against Chelsea. One pass and it went straight for our midfield and our back three and they've scored. We've got to cut that out. We haven't got enough fight in that middle. Alvarez, he puts a tackle in, but you need more. You need more of that. You can't, it's all right having Rodriguez, Soler. They're decent players, but they're not the sort of players that are going to get stuck in. And I haven't seen enough from, especially like Rodriguez. Soler, not as much because he hasn't really played, but Rodriguez hasn't really impressed me. You want to drop Souček, but we have to keep going back to Souček. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And that's something that we need to address, and it needs to get sorted out quickly because before you know it, we'll be 10, 15 games in the season, and then we'll all be sitting there thinking, fuck, we might be in a relegation battle this season. But look, it's too early to sort of, I think the next 2 games, Brentford and Ipswich, minimum 4 points out of them 2 games.
Yeah, totally agree, mate. Totally agree. And the thing is, when you look back at last season as well, the win against Chelsea, the win against Brighton, that early in the season, if them teams take them chances, that could have easily been 4 or 5 against us. It was only the fact that Areola had an absolute blinder in both them games, and we took the chances that we got the results. So, I think the point at Fulham's is a massive point now. Looking how we've started this season, hitting that point is a massive point.
I hate criticising Antonio because I think he's been a good servant for us. But once again, we've signed a striker and he's either picked up an injury or, we're just reverting back to Antonio all the time. Why ain't we got that little bit of luck? I see other teams sign strikers, and they hit the ground running, they have a good run of games. With us, Haller, Skamaka, now Fulkrug, we just can't seem to get that. We're cursed at this football club under Sullivan and obviously Gold when he was in charge of the club. We just can't seem to get that fucking striker situation right. It's frustrating. I know Fulkrug might be available tomorrow, but he ain't going to start, and he's probably only going to get 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, and the thing is like you said, we've either been unlucky with a striker or ended up with a manager that doesn't like the striker that we've got. We've had Skamaka, Haller, Chicharito, some great strikers.
I'm telling you now, right, if Skamaka would have still been here now, he would have been a superstar in this team. I'm telling you now, he would have been an absolute superstar. He would have been the striker that we need. We let him go a season too early. Like, Haller. Look, I've criticised Haller in the past, but there's other clubs he's done it. I only criticised him for what he done for us, and what he done for us was fuck all, nothing, because he wasn't given the opportunity to do it in the right in the right system. Danny Ings, again, like I've got to say this as well. I don't know why Danny Ings didn't come on against Chelsea. Steidten has got. Steidten. Lopetegui has got to. I think he's looking a bit too much, and I think he's a bit too quick to sort of make chop and change. You know what I mean? Like he has to. With the defence and the midfield, I think Soler is going to be a big player. I think Soler played really well on Wednesday.
Yeah,
I say really well in comparison to some of the others, but I think Soler was one of the shining lights. I think that's the sort of place he wants to go. There's players that just ain't hit the ground running. Whether they've been here for a while or whether they come, during the summer. Like Todibo, obviously, hasn't hit the ground running. He needs a little bit more time. But I think when he gets in, you can see he's an athlete. The geezer's an athlete. He isn't wanted by them big clubs for no reason, right? So he will come in. Kittleman's looked all right. Wan-Bissaka, 50-50 for me. Has great games. Sometimes he's just too far up the field. I don't know what's going on now. Maybe it's the coaching, maybe it's not. I think Soler's going to be a big player. Paquetá needs to step up. Paquetá really needs to start stepping up. And so does Bowen, because Bowen's the captain now. Maybe the captaincy is a bit too much for Bowen. I don't know. But these are all things that have got to be integrated. Somebody said there, I'm going to read the comments in a minute. Somebody said there, has the togetherness been affected? Like we don't look as together. You got 10 new players there or something. They're going to take time.
Yeah,
they've been
the squad. Yeah, the squad was so small. You're bringing in new players, and you've let a lot of the older players there. Oggy go in and people like that. What is it? Just Creswell now and Fabianski of who have been there the longest, I think, now out of everyone. So Antonio, sorry, yeah. So you've lost that longevity of players that are there, and you've not replaced them with real quality in a sense with some positions, but it is tough. It's just really tough to make that transition and that change. And it's just the problem with it now is football's just too quick. You don't have 10 games.
It's like we've gone out and we've signed these midfielders, and I'll be honest, the only one I've really been impressed with is Irvine, and he should be nowhere near this squad, and that's no disrespect to him. He probably looked the most comfortable when he's played. Yeah. And he should be pushing for a start, because when he come on against Chelsea, he done nothing wrong. 100% hard completion, and he was spraying the ball about. He might be an option. He could be someone that no one ever even thought of at the beginning of the summer. But it's just fucking. I don't know.
Things I think with Paquetá as well. I think Paquetá gets a lot of criticism because he tries things that, in a better side, come off, and I think that's why a lot of people were quick to jump on Paquetá. You see it against Chelsea. He played a ball into a position where a winger should have been. He plays these balls because that's where he knows where the ball's meant to be going, and the player should be on his bike running into that position. Sorry, and that's the thing for me. I think Paquetá's still 2 steps ahead of some of these players in this squad. And that's why he doesn't look as good as what he is.
Fuck off, is he 2 steps ahead? He's 2 steps
behind
him.
Honestly, some of our players, he's 2 steps ahead of some of our players. I'm telling you.
Yeah. We'll see. But in hindsight, I don't. If West Ham are looking to get rid of Tim Steidten with all the work he's done, look, Rome wasn't built in a day. As I say, you look around at Arteta. He finished 8th twice with Arsenal before he started to build and look what they've built now. The same with Unai Emery. Unai Emery coming to Arsenal, they was building something and they wanted him sacked, and they sacked him. And now look what he's done at Aston Villa. I don't think 5 games is fair. And all these people still arguing for David Moyes. At the end of the day, right, and this is the God's honest truth, and I hate to break this to you, David Moyes is not fucking coming back. Simple as that. So we move on from David Moyes, or you keep on fucking talking about David Moyes. Because who do you support? David Moyes, or do you support West Ham? I support West Ham. I wanted David Moyes out. Absolutely. Is this geezer any better? Time will tell. But let's give him a little bit of time. 5 games is stupid. But no.
It is as well, though, mate. Where is Moyes? Do you know what I mean? And this is the thing that really bugs me, is all these pundits and all that, and these fans that wanted to keep him. Look, I understand why when you look at stats, win percentages and all that. The football was shit last season. The team was shit last season. We were crap last season. We had an aging squad and a depleted squad, right? And that's why we're doing this rebuild now. But where is he now? He ain't in another managerial job. Let's be honest. It's not, same as all the pundits who rave about Gareth Southgate. Where's he now? Working for UEFA. That's good. So he's that good a manager. And this is the thing.
But the thing is, though, Scott, with Southgate, is that there's no jobs out there for him. He's not going to go from England manager to go and manage, like, he's probably holding out for a decent job. He's been at England for 8 years. He might want a break.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, there's these are meant to be great managers.
Well, everyone bangs on about Potter. He's been out of work for how long?
Exactly.
There's all these managers, but it's up to them, isn't it? When they want to go back into work, they're waiting for the right job. Like, it's not like they're skint and they're desperate for work. Like, they want a big name on their CV. They don't want Southgate ain't going to go from managing England to go and manage someone in the Championship or at the bottom of the Premier League. Yeah.
The
thing is, for me, David Moyes probably could go and get another job, but he's probably holding out for the Everton job because we know that's going to come up soon.
Yeah, and that's where I could see him going, mate. To be honest,
let me just read this comment that I just said. Be careful what you wish for, right? Look at his profile picture. No one is arguing for Moyes back. Everyone's just laughing at your terrible opinions. Look at his name and look at his profile picture. And I'm telling you,
I haven't really seen people saying about Moyes, like saying they want him back and that. And look, Moyes, he ain't going to come back to the football club. We know that, and like you said, we have to move on. You can't keep going back. It's. I just think, and I agree. I don't know if you see the Tony Cottee interview yesterday, but I agree with what he said. Lopetegui was never a step up; it was a sideways step. I don't see it. I think West Ham should have tried to go and get that bigger name. That's my personal view. I'll back Lopetegui. As soon as he signed that contract, I'll get behind him. But he wasn't my first choice. Probably wasn't my second or third choice. I wanted to see West Ham go down that different route, maybe a younger manager. I just don't. I'm behind him. I want him to do well.
I think, mate. I think, as I've said before, I think it was more we went from a sort of negative style to a positive style, and it didn't work out. And I think it's trying to transition of Lopetegui is quite a negative style manager, but he wants to play a bit higher up the pitch than Moyes did. I think that's what we're trying to see. He wants to have a bit more of the ball than what Moyes did. Moyes was happy having hardly no ball and playing Luton with not having the ball. Stick 11 men behind the ball. Don't have the ball, let them have it, and then try and catch them on the break. What I feel that we've tried to do with Lopetegui is that against certain sides, we're still going to do that. But, we've got the so-called lesser sides we're going to have a go at. And to be fair, the only team I've seen us have a go at so far is Palace.
Yeah, we could have been 3-0 down in that.
Yeah, let's there we go. Yeah, I didn't know enough about Lopetegui. I'm still going to give him a chance. Why not? He's our manager. This geezer, you must be a mate of the geezer that was tweeting me last night. Nicky Hopkins chatting bare bungle, bro. He's definitely a mate of that geezer last night. Your mate last night had too much to drink, mate, because I wasn't at Liverpool, but he was saying to me last night, like, come outside. What's he want me to come outside for? What's he want me to come outside for? It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. But they're definitely the mates of them. But look, at the end of the day, with all due respect, everyone's entitled to opinion. Everybody is. Just don't mean your opinion's right. And it don't mean my opinion's right. I don't care what you call me. You can call me Hock Turkins. You can call me Tubby. You can call me Chubby. Call me whatever the fuck you want. At the end of the day, you're entitled to an opinion. So that's what we're here for. Let's go through some of the some of the starred comments right now. 10-2 in aggregate in 2 games in the EFL against Liverpool. That's so poor. Sorry, but no excuses, especially when they had the kids out the other day. 50 million Fulkrug and Guilherme should have spent 40 million on Duran and 10 million on a box-to-box midfielder. Steidten signed some class players, but 50 mil for Guilherme and Fulkrug is ludicrous. We need to pay. Listen, Guilherme is one for the future. They always said he was one for the future. we've got enough wingers. You know, we don't need him to come in. I mean, let's see where that goes. Like, he could be the best thing since sliced bread. He might be for next season. You know, he come straight into Arsenal. They loaned him out first. Let's see. You know what happens. We needed a pacey young striker like Duran and a box-to-box midfielder like Basuma, Balebi, or Kante. Look at I do agree about Kante, by the way. I think Kante would have been a good signing. Look at the league's last few seasons in Europe. Now lucky escape relegation. Shut up, Charles, with all due respect. Shut the fuck up. With 5 games into the season. Tim wanted Amaran. He came round. He came for a look around the club before Loppy. But we didn't get him. That's it. I don't know about you guys, but both goalkeepers worried me. Yeah, I agree with that. I think both keepers have been bad. That goal that they let fucking between him and Kilman, that goal that they let Jota score the other day was fucking ludicrous, to be quite honest with you. It reminded me a bit of that. You know, remember that one that was it Chilwell scored when Chelsea, when he was on the line, when he was on the byline? Yeah, it reminded me something like that. Matt Rainey said, had a 50-50 week, but needed this. Love you, boys. Love you too, Matt. Thank you very much. This is the time you need your captain the most. Absolutely. And that could be a problem. Maybe Bowen may not be the man. But again, letting the man get settled into the job and, he's not playing well himself. Hilarious squad building style that needs to be held accountable. Of course he does. Hilarious squad building. Wow. Officials were shocking, says Clarence Lewis. Hello, Nick. Good evening. We may have won with VAR, even though we fielded a weakened team, which for me is inexcusable. Players on the pitch gave a good account of themselves. I don't know about weakened team, mate. I mean, it was a team, but I don't know whether it's weaker. I don't know whether it's any weaker than we've put out previously. We've got a decent sized squad now. Obsidian Kerr says, yeah, but we have spent another 100 million on defenders since last season. Yeah. So what? Be careful what you wish for. Are you sure? Look how Moyes left the club, an aged squad. Absolutely, I agree with that. Mm-hmm. Calling to Ray Parlour on TalkSport. Sullivan needs to sell. We are a sleeping giant and could easily get top 4. Calling to Ray. Ray Parlour is absolutely correct, in my opinion. Not sure it's harsh on Loppy, but we can only judge by what's happened, and he's made some poor decisions. Yeah, that's true. That is true. But, give him a chance to make some good ones. The thing is, the thing I hate is loads of people hate to see us do well for some reason. That's what you get for sacking Moyes. Yet they wouldn't take him at their club. Do you know what? That is a very good point. I see a lot of Liverpool fans yesterday, a lot of them about, going on about Moyes. At the end of the day, right, and I say this about, listen, I've had, people know I go on DR Sports. I talk to Flex, I talk to Abby, I talk to Matisse, I talk to Robbie. They was all saying the same thing. And I tell them the same thing that I'll tell you now, right? And the press. They don't watch West Ham like I watch West Ham, with all due respect. You know what I mean? They don't watch West Ham week in, week out, every minute of the football, right? I'm not saying that they're not entitled to an opinion, right? But would they, as I said, and I said this to them last season, would you take him at your club? And none of them said yes. None of them. So there we go. Kay Burnham said that was a very intent, Scott. Moyes left this club in a mess. Tim Loppy and Noble and the staff had to pick the pieces up and fix the team, especially with new players. It'll be a little bit time, but it'll get there. Have you seen Jazz's comments on Tim's? Who's Jazz? What Jazz? Jazz. On Tim telling someone he wants out of West Ham. According to Jazz, we signed Duran. That's what you should listen to. Jazz. Lopetegui needs more time. I do definitely get it. It was a world exclusive, apparently. I get to that, but performances need to be much better recent weeks, particularly Chelsea. That is true. A massive concern is midfield. It lacks pace. Cannot press without a player. Our fans run an agenda. Hilarious. No idea what you're talking about. Do you think the squad is getting well together in training, or is togetherness gone somewhat? What do you think? Do you think that could be a problem?
New players, when you're saying about Areola, the way he's been performing, all his mates have been sold off. So it's one of them. You had little cliques within the squad. He was mates with Zuma and them type. You had that little French connection, didn't you? Like the players that speak French and all that. I think Aguirre, they were always out together, weren't they? Cornet's gone, Aguirre's gone, Zuma's gone. You know, that's what I said. You've got a lot of split. You had little groups.
You can't keep getting these round just because Areola likes him to go out for dinner with.
No, of course not. But just sometimes, like new players coming in, it's a new squad. You've got to make friendships again. You've got to, that's the type of thing it is, and that it might just take time. Chemistry, isn't it? That's what it is.
We had the same thing. This all reminds me the way the season started and the summer we've had and the new. It reminds me of Pellegrini era. You know, we got him in, everyone excited, Spanish manager or wherever he's from. All these signings coming in, and then it hasn't started well. And then we know that Pellegrini didn't last that long. He was gone by November, and obviously David Moyes come back to the football club. You know, so you either got to stick with Lopetegui and just get behind him and hope that the results pick up. Because look, we could get 2 wins this week against Brentford and Ipswich, and then the table looks completely different. Then you go into the international break, and then we come back and we've got, is it Tottenham? We've got
Tottenham,
yeah. So
I do think, mate, and I think that we've got to have a couple of games to get our season started. I think we've had the games have been a bit too tough. You know, Villa, they're flying. And I thought they might struggle a little bit like this season because of Champions League and that. They are absolutely fucking flying. And again, they've just, they seem to have, like Ryan said earlier, we'd even had to see a bit of luck. They didn't get the best out of Duran. Duran was a decent player for them. All of a sudden, looks like he's on his way to us, right? Collapses with us for some reason, whatever reason. And then all of a sudden, Ollie Watkins' form drops. They put him in and he's fucking banging them in left, right and centre. It's just the way it is. You know what I mean? Like, we need Fulkrug to come back and absolutely start flying. We need something like that. We need someone to start that spark. I think this week could be the spark. Because you've got, as I said, you've got that. Then you've got a home game against Ipswich. You've got to fancy yourself there. If we lose that, we are in trouble. Let's be honest. We are fucking bang in trouble. The first 3 home games that we've had have been poor. We haven't lost an away game in the league yet. That's fact, right? Yeah. So let's get the Brentford game out of the way. Let's get an easier fucking league game at home and see how we do then. Because it could just be something like that. It was a shame that we didn't go 2-3 up again at last night. Even at 1-0 when we was 1-0 up, Tadibo missed an header. If that goes in, it's a different game.
Yeah, we're not clinical enough. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah, you're right. We ain't clinical enough. That's what they've got to work on.
If we go out there tomorrow and we have a similar performance that we did against Chelsea and we end up losing 3-0 again, what's your thoughts going to be then?
I'll be worried. Any similar performances like Chelsea, right? It's to be honest with you, sometimes not the results I'm looking for. It's the performances. And I've got to say, I don't think. I know you've criticised it, but I don't think some of the Chelsea performance was pathetic. Yeah. It was pathetic.
But
the Fulham performance weren't great. But I take encouragement from the City performance. I do take encouragement from the Palace performance because I thought we was really good. I don't think we was bad against Villa. I don't. You know what I mean? I don't think
we was bad against Villa, but they opening game of the season. But Man City, we had a good spell during the game, but on another day, City could have scored 4 or 5 that game.
I think that's it though. I think when you look back at that Chelsea game, we had that spell where Kudus scored and it was offside, and then we should have had the penalty. We don't score in them spells. Yeah. You know what I mean? We're not. That's what it comes down to. We're not clinical enough. Maybe we're not shooting enough. We got some good crosses into the box in that Chelsea game. The one that Somerville was just too short for, and then another one afterwards. And that is a big issue. Is that we're not clinical when we get our chances. We're not creating enough chances, granted, but when we are there, we're not clinical enough. We all try and having the rub of the green.
Yeah, I think me and Scott sort of spoke about it last night on the previews that we want to see performances, but when you're not picking up wins, you just need a win, and you don't care how that comes. You don't care if it's a last-minute winner. You just need a couple of results on the table. Well, look, we all want to see us play better, and I think that there has been some stages this season where we have looked a lot better. But then I look at it, there's a reason why we've conceded the most shots this season, 85.
It's worrying.
And we conceded, like, I think it was last season, like, continuing on from, and there's been no real sort of improvement in that area. But look, I'm confident it will come. I think that we will get the results, and I think that once we do get a few results, the negativity might drop off a bit, and it'll take the pressure off of Lopetegui and the players, and then we can just get back to enjoying watching West Ham.
Take some more comments. Says, how about the language issue? Lope needs to interpret in an interview. His team was Spanish. Look at Spanish speaking as well. His early interviews were definitely rehearsed. Could be a problem. Could be an issue. Be careful what you wish for. Again, none of you can actually articulate any points without saying Moyes bad. None of you can actually articulate any points without saying be careful what you wish for. Look at your name. First time ever, I completely agree with Nicky. So many negative people in here. It's been 6 games. Oh, thanks, mate. Thank you very much. And that's it. Yeah. Someone said, "Where's Lawless? He's having a night off tonight." He left with us, I'm afraid. West Ham fan base similar to Everton. Is that right? Is that true?
Yeah, in terms of how much they love their football club and want their football club to do well and loyal to their football club. And then Everton have had a really bad few years, and this season hasn't started off great for them. But even if they go down to the Championship next season, they still fill out their new stadium because they're a good football club. And yeah, there is a lot of similarities between us and Everton.
Absolutely,
working class fan.
Absolutely. Let's start looking forward to the Brentford game then. What do you want to see? I know you two done a preview, but what do you want to see? What needs to change? What needs to change after that Liverpool result on Wednesday?
I think Scott's going to say it, but go back to basics. I think we need to. I agree. I think my back four, I went with Bissaka, Todibo, Kilman and Emerson. I think you got to put Todibo in there. You can't keep like bringing him in and taking him out. You just got to chuck him in. If it don't work, then you bring Mavropanos on if you need to. I think the midfield needs to be tighter. I think that obviously Alvarez being suspended, I said this, I think it could be a blessing because he hasn't been that great this season. And maybe mixing it up with, I'll put Souček as a holding with Soler and Paquetá in front of him. And then the forward three, Bowen up top, Kudus and Somerville. I just think that we need to tighten it up. We need to, as we said earlier, when we get a chance, we need to take a shot, but we've got to stop conceding and we've got to get tight at the back. And Areola needs to improve as well. So, yeah, and Brentford's not a ground that we do well at. We haven't won there in the Premier League. I know we won there in the FA Cup once, but, last season, I remember Kudus scored that scissor kick. Remember that worldie? And we still ended up losing that game. I think it's 3-2 in the end. So, yeah, I just want to see a little bit of fight as well. I just want to see a bit of passion. I want to see, someone getting on the ball and dictating the game. I want to see Paquetá taking people on. I want to see Kudus running at them. I want to see Somerville taking them on. Bowen getting in the box. That's where I think that you see it a lot last week against Chelsea. There's not enough players in the box. Twice we put that ball in there and there was no one in there. And when there was someone in there, it was the smallest player on the pitch. But yeah, that's what I want to see.
And that's the thing, mate. It's making use of the players. We've got, like we said, in the Chelsea game, and probably again, you've got a player like Souček who's not everyone's cup of tea, but he has a use. And one of his main uses is his aerial threat, and we don't use it. And this is where sometimes we do need to go back to basics. It's what I said about Bowen. Bowen's the captain now. Bowen he can't cruise along on these 6s and 7s out of 10. He needs to be putting in a shift. He needs to be standing up and putting his head above the parapet and being counted. As much as Deck is a different level. When you look at him when he was a leader, he was always there. He took the flak when it come. He stood strong. Same as Nobes. Nobes done exactly the same. And that's what you need from a captain. You need your captain to be there. And that's why I'm on him so much, is because he needs to be stepping up. Kudus, for me, at the moment we're sacrificing Kudus to accommodate Bowen because Kudus has been much more of a threat in the side, and we need him playing on that right. And as much as I called for Bowen to be up top the other week, I also know that's not his strong point, and Bowen needs to be on that right hand side. But when you look at the form of the two players, look, Bowen's a great player. Bowen's as the couple of your previous years, he took a while to get going, but when he got going, he was consistent. But Kudus so far this season, when you see that spark, when you think something's going to happen, it looks like for me it's going to come from Kudus. And Somerville, for me, has played himself into the team in the last couple of games. So you've got to come up with a solution. Do you put Kudus as a 10 to keep Bowen in the side? Does Bowen go up front, or do you drop Bowen? This is the problem that Lopetegui's now got.
Yeah, I agree. The middle needs tinkering. The middle needs tinkering. We need to get that balance right, And as I say, there's some people. I think Paquetá's been a big problem. You look at the games when we've been conceding chances. I think it was what game was it when he fucking gave the ball away twice and we conceded 2 goals? What game was that? Man City. I think it was Man City. He just kept on giving the ball away, and every time we give the ball away, they went up the other end and scored. I think he's been a big problem. He is. He's a better player. I honestly don't think we're ever going to see that Paquetá back again. I think there's too much gone on at West Ham. I think he's got his head firmly in that. He's worried about what's going to happen after Christmas, which I can understand. I can fully understand why he's worried about that. He's it seems like he's gone all. He's
yeah, but then if that's the situation, then mate, then get him out of the team.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're right. I think, but and I think I think he's down on his luck a little bit. He thought he was going to be a Man City player probably for the last 2 years, and it hasn't happened. If it gets away with it, I'm gonna call this now, right? If they get away with it, if he gets away with that betting thing, right? January, he will be a Manchester City player because Rodgers just gone out for the season, and I think he'll be the perfect sort of like foil for Man City. Whereas there, and I would take that money and go and buy a couple of really good midfielders. I would. That's just my opinion. Did you see?
Comment, mate.
Yeah. Did you see? Right now, this is a blast from the past. An ex-Arsenal West Ham player have just dropped into League 2 with Bromley. Who do you think it is?
A what?
A former Arsenal and West Ham star drops into League 2 with Bromley. Who do you think that is? Have a little think. Have a little think.
Year did he play for us?
If I tell you that, you know who it is.
Go on, who is it?
He played for 2 years for us. One was fucking excellent. The other one,
the only one I can think. I'm just trying to think. So it can't be Bentley. It's too far back.
I know it is now because it's in the chat, so I'm not going to comment.
Yeah, I was thinking. You know what? That's the next name I was going to say was Jenkins.
Yeah, when Nicky said he had one good season, that's who I thought of.
So I said, right. Yeah. Cole Jenkinson, mate. I didn't even know he was playing football. Do you know what? Right, this is. Do you know what's fucking mad as well? Yeah. Do you know Jack Wilshere's still only 32?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
32. They were showing a thingy the other day about his debut.
Micah Richards is only 34.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why have people been away from football for so long?
Because Micah Richards, well, he was all right as a player, but he earns more with his fucking being a pundit and laughing at everyone that someone says.
Grant Rose says he's never 70.
It's a bit like Andy Carroll. Andy Carroll's at Bordeaux, isn't he?
Yeah,
but you know what? No, but you know what though? I rate Andy Carroll with that because he's dropped down to the 4th division and he's only earning 700 quid a week. It's not about money for him. He just wants to,
Didn't they have some problems there financially, Bordeaux?
Yeah.
I thought it. So
I thought they were going to go bust, weren't they? Bordeaux?
Yeah, he scored 2 on his debut.
It's good going, mate. It's good to see players doing that. Too many players get criticism for going around where the money is and disappearing off to Saudi and places like that. Good on him for going to do something different.
Do you know what? Well, he fucking nicked a living with us for fucking how many ever years. You know what I mean? So he's got to give something back. But no, respect to that. I always, I always heard, right, and these were the rumours I heard, he didn't even like football. So why he's still playing? We see him, didn't we, right? Out his nut.
He never liked football. I remember the story when he signed for Liverpool. When he was going to Liverpool, he had to Google who the players were. He knew Gerrard, obviously, but he didn't know any of his squad. He didn't know any of the other players that were there. He doesn't watch football. There's a lot of players like that. Ben White is the same. He doesn't watch football. He doesn't. But I suppose if you're playing it, it's like I work in the building industry. I wouldn't come home and watch fucking building programs and fucking want to do all that. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to switch off.
Some people, they're obsessed with it, and some people are just, it's a job. You know what I mean? I think that, what's his name? That Tom, who used to play for Everton, the geezer, he used to be like a surfer dude, like a skateboarding dude. Remember him? Tom something. Davis, was it?
Tom Davis, yeah.
Tom Davis, yeah. No interest in football whatsoever. Like skateboarding, he used to go out Nike Dunks and fucking.
Rob Green was the same, wasn't he? Rob Green never really liked football. He was another one.
There we go.
Who was the geezer that played the Tottenham with a big hair under Redknapp? Yeah, I think he was a fullback.
Right, who played with big hair?
Big hair. Oh, you're on about oh fuck me, what's his name? The left back.
Ikoku, was it? Asuaku? Asuka?
I swear he was like a South American player or something like that. And he
Asuakoto, yeah.
That must be him. The one that he didn't know. I think Redknapp told him he's gonna at corners he's gonna mark like John Terry or something like that, and he's like, "Who's that?" He just because he didn't watch football, and it's mad how you can be a football player and not be into football. I don't get it. Do you know what I mean? It really don't get it.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show it's just like mad. Some people are just naturally gifted at doing something and they enjoy doing it, but have got no interest in it outside of enjoying doing that.
Yeah. Marky Boy says, when I was an apprentice footballer, I played with two players who only liked basketball and American football. Yeah, but I used to, on the other side, there's players that are obsessed with it. I've met players that are obsessed with it. You know what I mean? obsessed, like know everything. So, it's probably too. Will it make you better? I don't know. I'm mates with people from all backgrounds and cultures and consider some more family than me and my own. This think it worries me about people arriving. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I thought they was talking about Figgy there. They must have only liked it in the first place because they thought they would have had to pay subs. Imagine if footballers had to pay subs. Do you think footballers even? Because do you remember a couple of years ago, right? Do you remember Tevez? Do you remember Tevez's pay slip come out? Remember someone found it in his dustbin? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember the Sterling one, not the Tevez one.
Do you remember that, right?
Yeah.
Someone found his pay slip, yeah, and there was a couple of really interesting things, right? So they charged him for 2 shirts, the club. So he had to buy 2 like 85 quid shirts or whatever they was, 45 quid shirts because he'd swapped them, yeah. And somebody did tell me, like, if they swap their shirts or give their shirts away, they deduct them in the next week's wages for the shirt. So they have to buy the shirt, yeah. And he paid 2 yellow card fines, Scott, right? That were 8 quid each. The same as the Sunday League players. he got deducted for 2 yellow cards that were 8 quid each. Do you think they pay subs?
Yeah, but a lot of clubs do it. I think when Frank Lampard went to Derby, he put up the list like if you didn't have your sliders on in the shower, it was a £5 fine if you was late and all that. And then they had it all up, and then I think what they had to put up, and then at the end of the year they give it to the club staff.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some political shit going on in the chat. I think we're going to have to end it there. I think because it's getting a little bit stupid. Has anyone got anything else we want to talk about?
Why do we have to end our show because of politics? Why don't you just ban them?
I can't ban everyone. I can't get through them all. But yeah. Has anyone got anything else they want to talk about?
No, mate. Only looking forward to tomorrow. Hopefully, get another win, and push on from there. That's it, really. There's not much else in the West Ham world been happening. It's been a busy week, but I think we've covered everything.
Yeah, I think so. Is there anyone else? All right, let's discuss this before we go. Does Souček start tomorrow?
In my opinion, yeah.
Yeah, for me, I had him in my starting lineup, playing just behind Soler and Paquetá. I think that we need his height. I think that, as I said earlier in the show, you want to drop Souček, but you always revert back to him because even though he gets his criticism, he's scored a couple of goals this season. Won us a penalty against Villa, I think it was, opening day of the season. He could have equalised in that game. He missed that chance right at the end. So he has been, for most of our best stuff that we've done this season, he's been involved in it. So, yeah, I'll put him back in.
This is the thing. I said it. This is what I said about going back to basics. Where we know what you get with him. I think with Alvarez picking up that suspension, Rodriguez not looking like he's up to the full pace of the Premier League. You're sitting there and thinking, if you've got a Paquetá and Soler midfield, there's not a lot of steel in there, is there? So it's just getting him to just add a bit of that robustness, so to speak. We could be doing Irvine a discredit. Maybe he deserves a start to come in and do something. But I just think with the way we are at the moment, the fact that we need a win and desperately need a win, just even a point there will be a good point. The fact that we've not got a good record there, just to sort of give a little kickstart. The season's got a kickstart somewhere. And as much as Brentford has been a tough place for us to go in the league, they've not been great at the start of this season. Yes, they went and gave Manchester City a game. There's teams that have done that. Sheffield United have done that before and been trounced by everybody else type thing. So, you've got to beat what's in front of you. And it's now time that, for me, go back to basics in some respects, but also throw the players in, and it's just to start building the partnerships that we need to see.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't been impressed with Rodriguez from day dot, really, when he's come in. I think he's just a little bit off the pace of the Premier League. Alvarez suspended. I think it's got to be Soler and Souček. It's got to be. I can't see anything else.
Yeah, I think that's why I went with Souček and just Soler and Paquetá in front of them. Like I like Paquetá in that middle role. He can. As I agree with what you said earlier as well. He needs to up his game. He hasn't been great this season, but look, he's still one of our best players, if not the best. On his day, he can make things happen. So when he's in a good mood and he's playing football and everything's going his way, he's a joy to watch. But he's a bit like Di Canio, really, isn't he? Like when things weren't going Di Canio's way, he got frustrated and didn't want to know. So yeah. We need Paquetá and we need Kudus on form tomorrow, and we need Bowen. We need our big players to step up.
Yeah.
They're the players. They're the players that when our new players ain't performing,
they need.
This is one thing we ain't got in our team. We haven't got players that are willing to that will sacrifice their game to make others better. We've had that over the last few seasons. I think Will Prowse done that a lot last season, and he got criticised for it. But that's one thing we need to do.
And I think the thing is as well, when you look at Souček, Souček sacrificed his game numerous times in respects to what he was actually brought into the side in the first place for. When you look at when we first signed him, we've never tried to play him that way again since. So he's had to adapt. Look, I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, and I see in the comments here someone saying, the Czech boys are finished, but they give a good account of themselves. They don't shy away from anything. And that's what you want. That's what we need at the minute. If the chips are down, we need people to rise up. And the Czech boys are the ones you've got to look at.
Well,
they leave it all on the pitch.
The chips are down. We need to give them potato salad. Give Souček the potato salad, man. Give him some special potato salad.
Yeah. And right,
let's end on this one because this would be a good one to end on. Who's been the best number 5 we've ever had? Debate. Number 5. I don't know what number 5 means, but what I'm going to turn around and say, what would be your ultimate five-a-side team?
What, in the history or just what we've seen?
Let's say Premier League era, because it's our era. That's the era that we've
Premier League era. In goal, I'd probably say Fabianski. Fucking hell.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
Payet, Di Canio, Tevez, and Ashton. That'd do me. Fuck the defence. We'll score all the goals.
God. So we're saying Premier League era.
Premier League era, yeah.
Right, okay. So we got to be looking at Premier League. God. You got to have Di Canio in there. You got to have Tevez in there. You got to have Lampard in there as your midfielder.
Have you?
Yeah. Lampard. Premier League era. He played in the Premier League. You said Premier League era.
For us, though.
Well, guy scores goals. Probably looking centre. Who would you have as your defender? Who was more of a brick wall? That's a tough one, that is. You want someone who's hard to get round. You know what? I'm going to go Neil Ruddock. He'd be hard to get round on a five-a-side pitch. And then in goal, I'm going to go Jimmy Walker.
I love Jimmy Walker. We've had a fucking mare here, mate. I'm going to go, right? This is my five-a-side. Green. I'm going to go green. No, Fabianski. No, Fabianski. It's got to be Fabianski. I'll go Rice in defence. Defence midfield.
Fuck Rice.
Paolo. Payet.
Oh, I forgot about Payet.
I fucking said Payet in my team.
Yeah, exactly. It is Payet in his team, yeah. Michael Carrick. That's mine. And I've left a lot out there. There's fucking
someone said there, Joe Cole. We left Joe Cole out.
Left Joe Cole out. Kevin Nolan.
Yeah, but when you got to think about it, when you've got Payet and Di Canio in your team, you don't really need Joe Cole.
Somebody's picked Areola, Lee Anderson in theirs.
Well, that would be a bad answer, mate.
The foe.
Yeah.
Someone said Ludo, Pekatar, Rice. No one's picked Dixie. No
one's mentioned Noble. No one's mentioned like John Hartson. No one, you know what I mean? Like, there's loads of players we could sit. Trevor Sinclair.
Five-a-side is fucking tough, man. Five-a-side is tough. Islop, Ginger Pele, Joe Cole, Bish, and Di Canio. No one's picked Bish. Bish is a fucking class player, man.
Do you know what I was thinking the other day, like about Bishop? Because I was watching some old
Rio,
a season review thing. Like, do you know what? Bishop could easily play in today's game. He was well ahead of his time, Bishop.
Yeah,
he was well ahead of his time. When you actually watch him, he could easily play in today's game, and he'll be an £80 million plus player without a doubt. And people will laugh at me, but go and watch his game, the way he played. John Moncur was very similar as well. They was always trying to play that way, but it was a different game back there.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because I look at some players, some that there's this. What does they call? What did they call that thing? The Barclaysman. You ever heard of that? The Barclaysman.
Yeah,
I think we picked this the other week, didn't we? Who was a Barclaysman? But there was players that you wouldn't say like were like top of the game, but you'd think to yourself, if they played now, they would be top players. Like Shaqiri for Stoke, right? I know it ain't that long ago. I think the geezer, who was the other geezer? Nico Crenshaw. I think they would excel in today's game, but then they were just like everyone was getting that type of player. Do you think that people now are just overhyped because of like YouTube and fucking FIFA and things like that?
I think with YouTube, you only see the best bits of players, didn't you? And that's what brings in the hype. You look at when you look at the highlight reels of like players like Pakatar and things like that. You only see the best. You don't see when they give the ball away 10 times in a game or something like that. So I think a lot of it is more overhyped nowadays. You know, because you've got things like that.
Fucking hell, Scott. Gökhan Toure looked like Messi when I watched him on YouTube.
That's what I'm saying. You know,
you can't turn up a complete mess. Not Messi,
Somebody said to me the other day that I was watching it. Well, no one said it to me, but I was watching it on the thing. They think that Pep's ruined the game. They think that he's destroyed the game because of the technicality that he brought into it. It's just ruined football because everyone's trying to.
Do you know who would agree with that?
Who?
Graham. Graham cannot stand Pep.
I sort of agree with it in a way, but I think that, you know, it's been evolving for years like that. Like Arsene Wenger completely changed the game of football when he come over. You know, you've seen other managers doing it. Mourinho done it for a little while before he went more defensive. But yeah, Pep's changed it. The problem we've got now is everyone tries to be like Pep. Everyone tries to be like Man City. Everyone wants that identity. You watch League Two games now, and they're trying to pass it out from the back.
Yeah, it's
like
ridiculous.
It's. I agree that someone put something up the other week, and it was goal of the month last season compared to goal of the month in 2002, and every single goal in 2002 was a screamer from about 30 yards, like Kevin Phillips bang top corner. Last season, every goal was a tap-in after a few passes. Every goal is similar now.
Yeah, that's it. It's in a way, mate. I think I saw the video that you were on about with the goal. It was just banger after banger. And
I think it was like the best goal of the month ever.
Yeah.
Like you had Gus Poyet banging them in. You had Pedersen for Blackburn. You had like every goal was like, if that any of them goals would be in today's game, they'd win goal of the month. Easy. Goal of the season, probably.
Yeah. Goal of the season, probably.
Definitely.
But everyone, but it's like that all around the world. I find football boring now. I don't watch exciting games anymore. It's rare that you get an exciting game. I mean, City Arsenal last week, two of the best teams. You know, it wasn't a great game, but probably one of the most exciting games I've watched this season, and that's saying a lot. Football is not exciting anymore. Football doesn't. You know, everyone tries to play the same. Everyone's got the same tactics, sets up the same. There's nothing really different anymore. So, yeah, in a way, Pep might have ruined the game in some people's eyes, but I think Pep's brought a lot to the Premier League as well, and he'll do a good job. He'll do a good job for England as well.
Yeah, to be fair, he would. He would, but
it will up. No doubt about it. I'm sure. But there we go. That's the show tonight. Thank you very much, everyone. Don't forget, if you're new around here, do click on the subscribe button. I'm not at Brentford tomorrow, so we won't have anyone at Brentford tomorrow, but I will be doing something in the morning before the game. They'll be doing a watch along. I'm sure we'll be doing something after the game as well. So catch up with that, and then we'll be moving on from that to the Ipswich game for the next week, where usual programming will commence. But thank you very much, boys. Been a pleasure.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, don't forget we've got the Kevin Nolan night as well on Thursday.
Yes, Kevin Nolan night. There was a super chat. No, I'm not reading that. I'm sorry, mate. I'm not reading that. You've wasted your money, I'm afraid. But there we go. Thank you very much. One thing left to say. Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.